Hi everyone. In today's video, we're going to learn about loops in Python. Loops allows us to repeat a block of code multiple times without having to write it over and over again. Python language provides us two types of loops, the while loop and the for loop. First, let's start with the while loop. The syntax of the while loop is we use the keyword while, followed by that we'll be using the condition. The condition is generally made up of relational operators. Then we put this colon and then the statement what you want to execute multiple times. This statement has to be indented. The while loop keeps executing as long as this condition is true. Let's try to understand this with an example. Let us say I'd like to print a message like printing hello multiple times. So let us say we have this message hello. If you want to print once, you write it once. If you want to print it 3 times, one way to do it is write this 3 times. If you want to print this 5 times, again add the statements. So what we can observe here is whenever we want to print this message multiple times, we need to increase the number of statements in the code. Instead of doing this, we can always use a loop where we say that I'd like to print this message hello, and then how many times I would like to execute this, I'd like to control this with the help of a loop. So now I'll be using a while loop, and here I need to keep track of how many times I've already printed and how many times is left over. So for that, before I start the while loop, I'll be using a counter variable. I'll just try to use the variable name as I. Initially, I'll be setting the value as 0, indicating that I have not printed the message even once. And here, I'll try to check for the condition, where the condition will be like how many times you want to print, and we'll set this like if I less than 5, please go ahead and print it. And if I is equivalent to 5, that means that we have printed 5 times, so stop. And then we put this colon. The statement inside the while loop has to be indented. And every time you print this, I would like to increment the value of I, saying that I printed once. Now, first time the I value is 0, it prints. Then I value will be 1. Then again keeps repeating. And once the value of I is 5, I'd like to stop. Fine. Now, the benefit of writing this code over this one is here, if I want to execute the message 10 times, here I would have written this print statement 10 times. Whereas with the loop, if I want to repeat 10 times, you just need to change the number of times the loop repeats 10. Or even if you want to print 100 times, you just need to change this to 100 times. So let's try to run this and try to understand. Let me take up a small value out here. So here I've tried the execution. Now here the value of I is initially set to 0. I'm going to check out if 0 is less than 5, the condition is true. It goes to line number 9, it prints the message hello, and then the value of I is incremented. 1 is less than 5, it prints the message, and after that I is incremented 2. Then again we print this, I is incremented to 3, then I is incremented to 4. After that, when I is incremented to 5, so here 5 is not less than 5, it comes out of the loop. The program is complete. Fine. So I hope the concept of while loop is clear. We can also take another example to understand the functioning of a loop. Let us consider I have a number. Okay. I would like to count the number of digits in this. As I can see, there are 5 digits here, but yes, okay. I would like to calculate it given any number. It could be a 2-digit number to 4-digit number or 8-digit number. I would like to write the code which can calculate the number of digits. So one way to do this is, first, if the number is not equal to 0, increment the counter, then remove the last digit. Since the number is not equal to 0 now, increment the counter, you remove the last digit. Then again, is the number is 0? No. You again increment the counter and remove the last digit. Again, the number is not 0. You increment the counter and remove the last digit. And you increment the counter, remove the last digit. You increment the counter and then remove the last digit. So finally, when the number is 0, you check out how many times the loop was repeated. Okay. Now let's consider doing this with the help of while loop. While the number is not equal to 0, I'd like to track the number of digits, right? So I'll have a counter variable, n digits. Initially it is 0. And here I'd like to increment this n digits equal to n digits plus 1. But I would like to remove the last digit. How do I remove the last digit? In order to remove the last digit, I'll say num divided by 10. I'd like to perform integer division, or also called as a float division. Finally, once I complete the loop, I'd like to print the number of digits. How many number of digits are there? N underscore digits. Fine. Let's try to run this. First, you can see this is a number, and n digits is set to 0. Number is not equal to 0. So I'll increment the number of digits, and I need to remove the last digit. Observe, the last digit 2 will be out from this number. And then still the number is not equal to 0. So I'll increment the number of digits to 2. I'll remove the last digit 9. Same way, the number of digits will be incremented and 8 will be removed. Number of digits incremented to 4 and then 3 is removed. Number of digits incremented to 5 and then 7 is removed. And finally, number is 0. When the number is 0, I would like to come out of the loop. And here I'd like to print the number of digits as 5. So I hope the concept of while loop is clear. Now, let's move into for loop. For loop is basically used when you want to traverse the elements of a collection. When I say a collection, a group of elements. Now, Python provides you a lot of collection objects like list, set, tuple, string, or such kind of things. Let's consider we have a set of numbers which are represented in a list. This is a set of lists out here. I'd like to access element by element and I'd like to print it. So in this case, I can just use a for loop. I can use a variable, any meaningful variable name, in followed by the collection objects like nums. Okay. And you can use any meaningful name out here. I'll just use the variable called as num. Remember, I've used a plural name here because the collection of elements, numbers, I've used a singular name, which is num. Now, here you can just do a job of printing, or you can also do any kind of processing. So as of now, I'd like to just do the job of printing. It's going to track the number of elements present in the nums, and in each iteration, it will give me the next element. In the first iteration, the num will be 12. Next iteration will be 23, then 34, then 43, and then 2. Let's run this and understand. You can just see this is a list of elements. The first time, num will be the first element of the list. You're printing this. Second time, num will be second element of the list. Third time, it will be third element of the list. Fourth element, fifth element. Okay, then we are done. So this way, whenever you have a collection of elements, we can always use a for loop to traverse all the elements of a list, and you can use those elements and you can perform some calculations, or you can just do the job of printing. Assume that we don't have a collection of elements, but I would like to generate numbers in a sequence. So when you want to generate numbers in a sequence, and if you already do not have any kind of list or something, then we can take the help of range function. We can take the help of range function. Okay. The range function will work with one argument, two argument, as well as three argument. With one argument, we basically say the stop value. If I just pass on this, it will generate a series starting from 0 up to stop -1. Like for example, I'd like to print from 0 to 5. I can say range of 5. This will generate a series from 0 all the way up to 5, is a 0 to 4. So you can just run this code. We can execute this. You can just observe every time we're getting this. Now, you don't want to always start from 0. You'd like to start from 5 and go up to 10. So in this case, we can basically use a range function where you specify the start value and then you specify the stop value. So like for example, I'd like to run from 5 to 10. Then first it gives me 5, then 6, 7, 8, and 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So starting from 5, it's basically starting from 5, the given start value. Now, assume that you don't want to generate a series in a sequence, but you would like to have a step value of 2. Like as of now, we could see that when it's starting from 0, then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When it started from 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, that way. But I'd like to start from a given value and also stop. Okay, we need to specify. Then we have the third argument, which we can control with the help of step. Assume that I'd like to print from 5 to 20, but I don't want to print numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in that way. I'd like to print, alternating numbers. So I'll just specify the step value as 2. So here, observe, first we're printing 5. Next, the num value will be 7, then 9, 11. This way, it goes on all the way up to 20. So till 19 keeps printing, and after 19, it won't stop. It stops. Fine. So I hope the concept of the while loop and the for loop is clear. And going further, when we work with more programming problems, we'll have much better idea of looping constructs. Thank you.